Okay, order entry. This is the trickiest part of Picis, really, because we interface with Metatech and subsequently with the Picis, which means that everything has to be just so going across the interface. There's a very tempting search box, which you typically will not be encouraged to use because there are so many ways to go wrong. First of all, there are scribes, there are unit clerks. If a scribe is with you and they have an RN or EMT certification, they can enter everything but medications. Stationary desk clerks cannot enter orders, but they can assist with phone calls and discharge or admission orders. They can also do STOs for culture to the lab. The exception is in, for instance, leveled trauma or sepsis, where it's critical care and you're very busy and not, in fact, available to interface with the system to do clerical work. There are paper orders that you can simply sign across the bottom, and then the tech or scribe can enter those into the computer. To get to the order entry, you can either go into the patient, highlight the patient, choose this orders button. This orders button will also be present from inside the patient, or you can choose from the go button. We're going to go to the orders. There are multiple what we call pathways where, for instance, we thought, what would a physician potentially want for abdominal complaints? And we tried to group things together in an easy to get to way. These are orders for physicians at Maine. The next group is nursing at Maine. These are the nursing protocols. And then the next thing that comes is the physician orders at West, nursing orders at West. The nurses use these somewhat more often than we do because we want them to order the protocols essentially as written. Physician groups, what we've done is try to put together things that seem like they would be useful given an abdominal complaint, for instance. This button sometimes gets clicked. You typically don't want everything because, for instance, you'll get a basic metabolic and a complete metabolic and multiple kinds of pregnancy tests. So you want to just choose more judiciously than that. There's a third kind of pregnancy test. So you just choose what you want, and then you come down to the bottom. Typically, let's say you want a CT. So you can get that from there. If you want the aortic dissection, you can see that's 1 of 2 and 2 of 2. If you ever order that study, you want to order both or anything that has 2 parts, but I believe that's the only one that it is a 2-part study. Exam reason is in the live system only required on radiologic studies. I usually use the repeat button, which then shows me anything that I've ordered down here. You can see that our test system isn't functioning totally normally. I'll show you momentarily. You can also hit this button. It'll take you straight over to the medications. I like to hit the repeat button because it gives me a chance to look at what I've ordered and briefly consider whether there was anything else I wanted to order. This blue square tells you that the study has been ordered. And you can order it again if you want to. If, for instance, you have a diabetic patient and you need another basic metabolic, you can order it even though it's already ordered, but it's a plainly visible blue square that tells you that that study is already pending. And you can see that, that's why, because on this patient in a prior test, I ordered studies at PW. That's something else that you need to be very aware of, is that lab studies, it matters whether you're at West or whether you're at Maine. This basic metabolic panel is for Maine. If it says PW basic metabolic panel, that's for Pueblo West. And those would be this other order set for physicians. That's part of what we've tried to do to make those easier to order. Some of the order sets, for instance, trauma, level 1, level 2, will be better if you essentially order them wholesale because they are part of our compliance with our certification as a level 2 trauma center. So typically if we have a level 1 trauma with neck injury where we are concerned about potential for vascular injury in the neck, just click all, but watch out again, choose which kind of pregnancy you want, and you know, that's going to be your biggest bugaboo on the traumas. And then the CAT scans, we just want all of them. So that's partly related to our to our test system. But in the live system, those are just exactly what we want for level 1 trauma, and you can pretty much just order the whole thing. Yes, some things require additional information, like what kind of anticoagulant. They're not on any. Typically, again, in these big order groups, you would have some sort of assistance for somebody ordering that. If you order blood, you actually have to put in that you ordered it, even though it's you writing it. So anyway, sometimes there are little tricky additional fields in there required, and it won't let you advance unless you satisfy it. So it will tell you again what it's missing and what it needs from you. Medications. So again, you can, using the order pathways, you could say, take me away to the medication group. This is going to aggravate us because I haven't satisfied it. Or you can click this Med Services button up here. You can choose Med Services from the main page or from that drop-down menu, the Go menu. Quick List is going to be your most common. The easiest way to get a good quick list for you is going to be to go to the quick list manager. You're not going to have all those things because these are quick lists that I have built. And you're going to choose copy. And then one of our scribes, Amy Schwalm, built a quick list of the 100 most common medications and had it vetted by pharmacy. So we have, and her name would be one of these, and you would choose her name. We'll say Noel Boyce instead. But you would go to Amy's list. Still loading, still loading. And then you'll have 100 medications that are the most common and that are all correct. This is the most dangerous part. The root and the units are the trickiest part for our system because of the interface with 2 other systems to get to where it needs to be. And then you would select all on Amy's list and you would press copy, and it would import all of those things to your quick list. We'll go back and show you a quick list. So it shows the most used on this very first page, and then you can get to the other things by going here. On the quick list, this is the only place that it does. If you hit this box, you can come down here and hit enter, but you can also just move to another area, and in the quick list alone, that is as good as hitting enter, and that order will cross the interface and go over. You can see erythromycin ointment, even though I didn't hit the enter button. Any other group that you use, you have to hit enter, or any other way that you use to have medications. Again, the advantage to using prefabricated lists is that you know that the root is correct. For instance, azithromycin, you may not be aware that there are 4 different IV roots, technically. They're quite distinct as far as nursing and coders are concerned. This will tell you that antibiotics are always IV piggyback. They're not push, they're not infusion, they're obviously not hydration. Some of the hydration versus infusion gets a little fuzzy, but if you use a prefabricated list, then you will never be wrong. So that's the easiest, best way to do that. If you feel compelled to search or have a special need to search, one of the things that I recommend is that you open the schema website, which is this one right here, schema.parkviewmc.com. It looks like this main page, and you have all these lovely choices. The one you're going to be focused on is pharmacy, this one here. Click that, it takes you to this page. You want to choose Picis formulary, and it brings up this Excel spreadsheet. The spreadsheet has every medication that we have in the emergency department formulary. And it shows you the name as Picis refers to it in this column. It shows any alternate name here. It shows the only acceptable root and unit in here. You can always change the dose, but the root and units are what are needed to get it across the interface successfully. If you're looking for Phenergan, you can type this in, say find the next, and this is again Control F right here. brings up this search box. And that will show you Phenergan injection. That's not the one I was looking for. I'm trying to find the rectal suppositories. Here's another kind of Phenergan injection. That one's not it. That one's not it. There's a rectal suppository. Promethazine. So promethazine rectal suppository. It tells you that it's 25, that it's milligrams, and that it's rectal. So that shouldn't be a big surprise there. If you keep looking, you will find that there is another one. If you want the 12.5 milligram suppository, you have to search under phenidose. So you come over here to the search box, and if you type in promethazine, then you get the rectal suppository there. That'll be the 25 milligram. If you want to get the 12.5 milligram one, you have to type on phenidose. And rather than trying to remember all these things that are so frustrating, you can just look them up in that. Rectal, if you want to add something to your quick list, if you do it like this, you can always hit that button and have it add into your quick list. There are prefabricated groups that are helpful. All meds gives you every single option, but it takes a while to load, so it doesn't get a lot of use unless you have something tricky that you're trying to find or figure out, which you can always go and find it in the in that spreadsheet. Antibiotics are helpful. Drips and hydration are helpful because it's sometimes trickier than you'd think to figure out whether it is a drip or a hydration or an infusion. Hydration, infusion, hydration, and it's easier to just sort of pick a prefabricated one. If you change your mind about a medication, avoid using the delete button. The delete button will completely eliminate any trace of it in the Picis system. However, it does not eliminate the record of it in Meditech or in the Picis. So the nurse is going to go to the Picis, and she's still going to see that azithromycin that you just deleted. When she comes back, she's going to be confused because it is totally gone from here. So better than delete is the cancel button. There you go. And it's going to bring up this box. Oops, I don't know what just happened. Let's do this again. I think I just accidentally hit delete. So cancel, you say change in medication plan, and it lines it out just as is proper. The other thing is if you have a medication that we do not have in our Picis. So if you want methotrexate and it's not available, then you're going to put the dose and info here and your route down here. We're going to say we're going to do that IM. Oop. And then, geez, oh Pete. Okay, there we go. That is going to send a note up to the pharmacy, and they will begin working on it. You can see this dotted line means that was a free text order that went up to pharmacy. If you're in a big hurry, you might consider calling up there to get them to start working on it and get it down to you as quickly as possible. And I think that's about it. Just looking at my list here. Yeah, okay, I think that's it. All right, thank you.